Mangum, and I will be speaking on Martyr of Freedom, Abdul Fattah Younis. Would you be willing to give everything up for freedom? Would you be willing to die for your rights? Abdul Fattah Younis was a military leader and was once known as the second Gaddafi, but gave it all up to become a leader of the Libyan rebel and fought for Libyan freedom. The Libyan rebellion and Libyan civil war began because the leader and tyrant of Libya, named Muammar Gaddafi, ruled over for 4 decades and denied Libyans their freedom, exploited their wealth, and had people killed in their homes and terrorized in many countries, including the United States. He gave lots of false hope for democracy, and much of the state's income came from its oil production, which soared in the 70s. But in the 80s, a large portion was spent on arms purchases and sponsoring militant groups and independence movements around the world. The uprising began in 2011, and many people went to help to overthrow Gaddafi. Now this is about Abdul Fattah Younis. Abdul Fattah Younis and Gaddafi were friends since the 60s in Army College, and they helped overthrow IRIS, which was a leader of Libya, and which brought Gaddafi to power. Abdul Fattah Younis headed the special forces while Gaddafi was in power, but when the Libyans began to protest and riot in 2011, Gaddafi thought that Fattah Younis would be the natural choice to squash the problem at the very beginning. But instead, Fattah Younis announced in February that he was siding with the rebels. In an interview, he stated, "The Libyans have suffered too long. I am not a two-faced man. I worked with Gaddafi for 42 years, but he is wrong." Along with siding with the Libyan rebels, he also got the city's interior ministry to side with the rebels, as well as respond to their reasonable demands. A few months after joining the rebel side, Younis is arrested and was faced questioning, but later on that day was found dead along with 2 other officers. His body and 2 of the other officers was found dumped on the outskirts of Benghazi, and they had been shot and were burnt afterwards. An NTC said Younis was killed by pro-Gaddafi assailants, and the head of the group had been arrested. However, the Libyan government gave another version of the event, saying that Younis had been killed by the rebels because they thought that he was a double agent. At his funeral, his nephew praised him, saying he was a hero, but soon after laid to rest, his very son broke down and yelled, "We want Muammar back, and we want the green flag back." The Martyr of Freedom. While there is still question as to who killed Younis, there is no doubt that Younis was a great man who loved its country and its people and wanted the freedom for its people. Gaddafi was assassinated shortly after, and the Libyans are finally free. So Abdul Fattah Younis did not die in vain, and one day Younis's death will have justice.
Thank you, thank you.